Hello, people. Mark and Lara from Kharischangeworks, guys. Hope you're well. We're going to have a bit of a chat, maybe for 5 minutes or so, because Lara's internet is seemingly very unstable because of, it's just very unstable. So in order to maximize the time, we're going to just do a quick little thought for the day. And I've asked Lara to participate because for two reasons. One, I've really enjoyed making these videos with her together. And also it is nice to hear an alternative point of view when it comes down to some thoughts. So, Lara, what is your thoughts on the following little statement? I read it today and I thought it would be a nice discussion for you and I to debate. Now, I know that you and I already see things pretty much the same way. So I already have an inclination that we will see things quite similar, but I think it's important that others know what we think, and also curious to see what they think. This is the statement. Life is like a coin. You can spend it on anything you like, but you can only spend it once.
That is quite profound, but I do agree with that statement. You have one life to live and you should live it to the fullest. The good book refers to it as living every day as if it was your last. And I think with so much negativity and lockdown and COVID and blah, 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 I think people need to get up in the morning and just give it all they've got, because you're not assured or guaranteed of tomorrow.
Yes. Someone once told me when I was in the army back in the day in Pretoria, I mean, we're going back 30 odd years now. And they said, the chaplain said, your life is like a bullet. It's got all the potential to make things right. When there's a war, you can kill the enemy. It makes things right because now the threat has been reduced. Equally, the same bullet will destroy a life. Correct. If you use it in the wrong way.
Yes.
But once you've pulled that trigger, there is no way you can get that gunpowder back in. You can't go fetch the round itself and put it back into the bullet thing itself. Once that trigger has been pulled, that round is gone.
Correct.
So you've got one shot, just like a bullet, like that coin, where you've got to spend it. Now, this is the thing about what the good book also says is we have freedom of choice.
Yes.
We choose whether we want to do good. We choose whether we want to do bad or evil, destructive, whatever. We have a choice.
Yes.
If we take our life as that bullet, that coin, whatever you want, and we say to ourselves, when we are old enough to actually weigh up the balance between, well, if I do criminal things, I might get in trouble with the police, which means I'm going to go to prison, which means my life's going to be this is gone. If I do drugs and alcohol to the point where it controls me and not me control it, I'm throwing my life away. Versus, actually, if I'm going to do something constructive that helps me to help society or nature or whatever the case might be, if I'm going to apply myself in a good way, then my life's going to be full of happiness and fulfillment.
Yes.
Now, to me, that's quite an easy decision to make. We choose whether we're going to end up being criminal or whether we choose to be non-criminal, if we can put it in two broad fashions, or we choose whether we're going to be positive or negative, helpful or not.
Yes.
We make our own decisions as far as that is concerned. So the thing, I agree, we can spin it on anything we like.
Yeah.
Because that's our choice. There's no one that holds a gun to our head and says, you will choose to X, Y, Z. There's no one that holds a knife to our throat and says, you better do this or else, when it comes down to our life choices. Now, here's the thing. When we get ourselves involved in criminal activity, I mean, that sentence in its own right gives it away. We get ourselves involved.
Mm.
No one grabs us by the scruff of the neck and says, you will. It is what it is. So when we get ourselves involved in criminal activity, even though the criminal activity takes place, again, we have a choice.
Yeah.
We have a choice to stay there and evolve in the criminal system, whatever that might entail, or we can say, do you know what? I don't like this so much. I'm going to make a different choice, and I want to move out from this lifestyle. And I'm going to do things that is not necessarily opposed to it, but different from it.
Yes.
And again, in both ways, when we become involved in negative, destructive things, it's a choice. We get ourselves involved. But likewise, because we've got freedom of, our will is free, we can choose whatever we want. We can apply that freedom, that opportunity of grace, and say, I'm going to uninvolve myself from that by making a choice that pulls me away from that, and I'm going to apply myself here by getting myself involved with that.
Correct. Positive stuff. Absolutely.
Yes. Now, but we have one life. Now we can become like a chameleon that can color in this area of the world. We can blend in the criminal side. We can be anti-criminal. We can involve ourselves in here, and we can go through seasons, I suppose, where we involve ourselves with different projects, different this, that, and the others. But here's the thing. On our deathbed, when we look back at this one life that we've got, will we be able to say to the people who's going to take our legacy, and either one with the philosophy that we've lived our lives by, which is what I hope my children will do, and say, my legacy is now moving forward, not just my name, but I want people to remember me for what I've done for them, how I've influenced them for the better, how I've helped them get from point A to point B, how I've improved their circumstances. That's what I want people to remember me by. There will be people who will call me every name under the sun, and that's great. I don't particularly care about that. But that too will be a choice when we, at the end of our lives, and we look back at our lives, because death is imminent, we can't turn around and say, oh, by the way, I had no role to play in anything that I've done.
Yeah, you can't say that.
When we spend
It's a choice.
Correct. When we spend that money, that coin, when we look back, we're going to be asked to give account to the value of that coin that we were given, just like the good book tells a story about a coin.
Mhm.
And we have to make sure that the value that the coin was there with its potential has been applied in such a way that we hopefully have a greater return with what we've done with that one single coin. Meaning,
Yes.
that's what I've been given, my talents, my skills, my experiences. Have I applied it in order to multiply? Not necessarily financially, but have I applied myself in such a way where people actually increased in their self-worth? Have they increased in their self-esteem? Have they increased in their confidence?
Mm.
Have we, what I call, have we added value to them because of this coin that we've been given?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So folks, you and I, we all have been given a coin. Now the coin might say 10 on it, the coin might say 1 on it, it might say 50 or 20 on it. It doesn't matter what number is on that coin that has been allocated to you to be accountable for and responsible for what you do with it. The value of that coin is what it is. But if we take that coin and say, my coin says 50 on it, and we utilize that value of that coin, and it starts building value in us through experience and education and the school of life. And we take that and we then apply that to the people who we interact with on a day-to-day basis. Are we applying the value of that 50 and increasing the folks that we interact with? Are we making their lives bigger? Are we adding value to it from that 50 that we've been given? Or are we going to be like these little blood suckers that you get in the Amazon that just drains the life out of you by sucking and getting all the life that's in you out? Are we those kind of people that says, I'm going to pull away from you in order for me to become bigger? Now, someone once said many years ago, I'll remember it, we need to be fat, faithful, available, teachable when it comes down to the ministry of God. But here's the problem with fat. If we're faithful to God's calling, we will apply ourselves effectively. If we're available to do his calling, we will apply ourselves. And if we are teachable in our calling, we will apply ourselves. But I also say there's an E at the end. We need to do all of those things with excitement and anticipation.
Mm.
So it becomes more of a fate rather than fat.
Yes.
Because when we are faithful, available, and teachable in our life quest, and we do that with enthusiasm, then we will, I believe at least, then when we get to the end of our lives and we look back, and then we can say, I've used my life for the benefit of everybody that I've interacted with.
Excuse me, correct.
Legacy, yes, that legacy that is left behind will be rich in experiences. Spend your life, that coin, on anything you like. Anything you like. But there's going to come a point where you have to give an account to the value of that coin that was given you. But you only have one of those.
Mhm. True.
So, Lara, I guess I speak for both of us here. Make the most of your life.
Correct.
Do good always. Be honest always. Tell the truth always. When you set your heart at something for that is the benefit for the planet, in whichever way, shape, or form that might be, apply it with excitement and enthusiasm. Do your best. Because the people who come behind you, your children, will either remember you for doing something really, really positive and worthwhile, or they're going to remember you for being a complete and utter jerk. Either way, you will be remembered for that coin that you've used, that you were accountable for. But you will always be remembered for one or the other. Therefore, make the most of life. Spend wisely. That way, you will be remembered for the good that was initially placed in us, and you would utilize that for the benefit of everybody else. Therefore, your legacy will be remembered as something that has been positive and worthwhile, etc., etc.
Okay. Yep.
Because you don't get a second chance. It is as simple as that. Our second chance comes in the afterlife, wherever the afterlife might be for you. Make sure your choices are such that your afterlife destination is the right one. Because there's no end to the afterlife. It's a long time. And if you're wrong for a long time. And if you're right for a long time. So whatever value you've been given in that coin, spend it wisely.
Yep.
Because it's important.
Lara,
Lara, I don't know if you want to say something else. I know I've been going on and
I think you've pretty much covered everything. I think people just need to remember that that's what we've been saying in the last couple of videos that we've been doing is it's a choice and it's positive or negative and it's up to you how you live your life. But at the end of the day, yeah, it is what it is. So do it right and do it with excitement and motivation, and so that you have no regrets.
Yes. Okay, folks, there you go. I would like to hear what you have to say. Whether you spent your coin in the wrong shop, shall we say, and you've recognized that mistake, and you've decided to change shops. That's good. Or whether you were fortunate enough to find the right shop at the first instant. You're not all that fortunate. But wherever you buy your sweeties and food from, that's how you're going to end up as. Please do the YouTube admin, like, share, subscribe, hit the button, pick all, tell all your friends and your family, and comment in the comments box. This is an interesting one. I would like to hear what you have to say. But for now, this is Mark and Lara from Kharischangeworks, and we will speak to you soon.
Bye.